Hello, my name is Ben Kay, former England rugby player and now pundit with BT Sport. Welcome to my Accenture RBS Six Nations blog as I look back at last weekend's fixture, England versus Ireland at Twickenham, and look ahead to the monumental fixture as it's now become, England against Wales. It's always a cracker at Twickenham. So looking back at that Ireland game, just a magnificent performance from both sides. Spoke to a few ex-internationals after the game and they all said it was genuinely of World Cup semi-final intensity, that sort of important game. Both sides doing themselves an enormous amount of credit. Obviously England coming out with the spoils. So just breaking the game down a little bit and looking at some of the reasons why England might have come out on top. You might be surprised to know that Ireland had the majority of the territory in possession. England had only 47% of the ball and they played only 41% of the game down in Ireland's half. Now, sometimes in rugby, particularly a tense, defensively orientated game like that one, you might hear the expression that sometimes it's better to play without the ball and just trust your defence. And England in that facet were magnificent. So if we break those statistics down even more, England had to make 163 tackles to Ireland's 117, but England's were a lot more powerful and their ability to stop Ireland from getting over the gain line was what set the two teams apart. So although Ireland had better field position when they actually did have the ball, they weren't getting over that tackle line. England, conversely, with 15 less carries than Ireland, managed to make 60 more metres than their opposition, and that was a key factor in winning the game. England also had more offloads out of the contact, which probably explains some of the extra metres. But a big thing for England was less turnovers, and that was a key that I highlighted last week before the Ireland game as to how England won, or how England would need to win, because Ireland are very, very good at the breakdown, but only managed 13 turnovers, which is pretty good. The stars for England this week, well, Mike Brown rightly got the Man of the Match award. He made 10 carries, beat 5 defenders in the process, making 82 metres, but 2 clean breaks. And you might remember one of those clean breaks resulting in an assist for Danny Kerr as he scampered over under the posts, and the Twickenham crowd went mad. Other star performers for me, I thought Joe Launchbury was absolutely magnificent. His work rate, played most of the game in the second row, moved over to blindside, showed his versatility, but a staggering 18 tackles for a second row. He's now second in the whole championship for number of tackles behind his captain, Chris Robshaw. Big loss for England. Stuart Lancaster will be concerned about losing Billy Vunipola with what sounds like a long-term injury. Ben Morgan will come in this week against the Welsh. He's been making some great impacts off the bench, but he'll be tested for how long he can stay on the field and continue to make that progress. As for Wales, the opposition next weekend, the people to watch out, the danger men, are probably Talaupi Faletau. He made the most carries for Wales by quite a long way, and he's also was their second most prolific tackler against the French. Alan Wynne-Jones coming back into the side, didn't play against the French. He's a warrior, captained the Lions in that last test, and he will want to make sure that against his old enemy he has a brilliant game coming back in. The front row will always be a hard battle, particularly with Adam Jones in there, one of the stars of world rugby over the last few years, and England losing both Dan Cole and Alex Corbisiero for the championship. It's an area that they got beaten up last year down in Cardiff, and was probably the major point in England getting hammered down there and losing the Grand Slam. Having said that, the new scrum laws, I think, have depowered Adam Jones a little bit. Didn't have great games in his first 2 championship performances this year. But last week against Domingo, one of the best in the world, loose heads, he came out on absolute top. Also, you've got the Sam Warburton effect coming back into the side, the captain, and his chop tackles, or his ability to get on the chop tackle of the Welsh defenders resulted in 2 key turnovers, and he again is going to be a key factor this weekend. The chop tackle is where you go in low, you get the player to ground straight away, and immediately someone goes in on the ball and tries to turn you over. So perhaps a different challenge for England to Ireland, who perhaps like to wrestle you a little bit higher up. But if England can maintain the aggression they showed around the contact area, they should come out on top at the breakdown, but it's a big if. So the key areas this weekend for me, The scrum is absolutely huge. England need to get parity there, not give away penalties, because with the kicking potential of Lee Halfpenny, they can they can lose 3 points from anywhere on the field. The breakdown, I've already discussed. England's ability to clear away the likes of Sam Warburton, Dan Lydia over the ball. England's midfield defence need to have a really strong game. Billy Twelvetrees and Luther Burrell against the Lions pairing of Jonathan Davis and Jamie Roberts. And those guys are so important, particularly Roberts, who had a brilliant game against the French at getting over the gain line. And once the Welsh have momentum, they're a very, very difficult side to stop, because the defensive line can't set, and they have some of the most lethal and destructive broken field runners in world rugby. So they're the areas that England have to concentrate on if they're going to win this game. You'll want a prediction from me. I'm an Englishman. I'll back England because they're at home and because of the hurt of last year. And I think England will win this fixture by 23 points to 17.